draft. The draft from one team is more like a team fight com, right? They draft Galio, Darius. Darius is obviously for team fight because of the E and stuff, and he built a tank as well because he's rushing a Daceman plate. If I'm not mistaken. So I want to see like I wanted to play like more of a high tempo composition this game.
Absolutely agree with you, and I think they've just heard high tempo, and immediately they lock in the Camille that was left out in the open. So maybe they want to copy a little bit of a textbook play that's coming from Team Flash that has been able to take one game off of one team, and now they respond with the Riven. So this skill matchup here definitely is going to be very exciting. So we expect a lot more fights to happen on that Baron lane once more.
Yeah, this tournament is all about top laner.
At least it's no longer an island, right? Like, there's a lot of partying going on out there.
Everyone could swim there.
That's right. But then again, when we have a Camille, it can still be flexed in the jungle. Since you've been playing a lot of all these tournaments, do you always prefer it on the Baron lane or the jungle in specific?
Do you mean Camille, right?
Yeah, indeed.
In this game, I like Camille more to be the actually I think it's pretty fine as both lane, but they need to flex all the way so they can like switch around to see what one team pick, and then they can counter pick later on with the jungle on top.
My oh my, am I seeing this right?
And now
it's a lot.
Camille jungler is way better.
Wow.
way better because they could when you play as a Baron laner Camille, oh okay, he already picked Vi. As a jungle Camille, you can always go for the pick off, right? But as a Baron laner, you gotta push the wave first. You can't just randomly go to mid and pick someone off, right? You gotta play with a minion wave. So that's out of the windows. So it's pretty tough, I guess.
Now that we've
Lux and Sona.
All these champions coming right in. One team esports, they have a lot of burst magic damage, but I'm not too.
Well, I'll tell you what, hey Riku, there have been some wild requests in the playing stage as to what sort of champions we'd love to see, and just out of the gates here, both of these teams said, you know what, have at it. We'll give you that Sona Lux bot lane, we'll give you that Vayne Lulu Enchanter matchup, we'll give you everything that you need to be entertained here.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be all-out skirmish, all-out fight. I mean, the first thing that you see is going to be that Olaf lock-in, and you know it's going to be Ninja 7 and CU going to be playing around the fact that they have this Olaf. Ragnarok just going to be passing through everybody, and their target, and Xianyo's target is almost always going to be Papa. And I think the biggest struggle would be David's Wild Growth. Who will be able to out-sustain each other in battle?
And the spot lane's going to have to be on their very best form here, guaranteeing that they've got the right cooldown utilization, that the focus is shifting beautifully. I feel like that was one of the criticisms of Game 1, right? The fact that there was a lot of the attention drawn into one key focus. Very easy then for Lulu to play around that. So I suppose it's up to one team with this Olaf once more to hit that pressure switch and showcase that, hey, you know, Papa can tumble all day long and look to try and become, you know, that 1v9 player. But we can just switch focus. It'd be very hard for you to answer back.
Yeah, I mean, there's Papa who's able to get that final hour on board after level 5. You get that extra mobility, I suppose, and as well as the tumble. The biggest question is, will that be enough? Look at this, though. SVP initiated the lane swap because they know this matchup, just as what the Jess has mentioned, is going to be them being obliterated. The fact that Papa, again, as a Vayne in general, has no wave clear whatsoever.
Oh no, David's in the spot above it here. Greedy for vision, runs into the river and finds himself an Olaf. That's not what he's after. The heal comes out, the empowered damage is there to flash away back to the safety of the top tier 1 as the orb goes out, empowers them with the auto attack damage if need be, but no one there to finish it. And no one will fall on down. And yeah, I mean, they're frantically hunting for that reset because they really want to avoid this this bottom lane matchup and try and scale up the 3.
And one team doesn't want that to happen. They know it's gonna happen. And they just basically haunt SVP like a ghost here with this very oppressive 2v2 matchup. And I think the scariest part is that one team has all the tools in the world to be involved in these skirmishes. You've got, what, almost everyone will get priority over here. And Oddsy will not be able to be involved in the fights as much because you're a Ziggs. You want to just keep clearing down the waves, see if you can punish one team in their roams by getting a tower on your own or getting chip damage on the tower.
I feel like Yasuo has a very big role in this game, right? Doesn't want to be the AFK control mage in the mid lane, just farming up a storm and waiting for the rest of his team to participate. His Mega Inferno bombs can be actively used in these side lanes to trim waves, to trim dives, and potentially nullify some of this annoying harass that we're seeing on our screen right now. Then they do have the opposite lanes that can scale into oblivion. The Vayne, the Camille, an absolute menace to deal with. And if this game is going to be as haphazard as game one, it could be another 50-50.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So SVP hoping to scale. One team, though, when we look back at their previous games today, they've been incredibly proactive, is able to get early game leads, and so far it's looking to be the case because they have been making moves around the map as we get to see Baya having to tag team with Shanyo most likely, especially if he gets priority. They want to hunt for kills, and the enabler for that is the charms.
Yeah, and every single time you see that lane pushed out, you just have to know that that RE is unlocked, is going to start roaming, and I'm sure the Olaf won't be too far behind. Now, SVP's bot lane has been locked in place here for a very long time. There is the flash, they've got themselves the chilling smite. Burns double flash to try and disengage away. Here comes Allbot, all in with his Sodom battery, the satchel charge to disengage. There's going to be the whole 4v4 here, top side of the map, as the Bruisers now just run through to mid and assert themselves controlled there. No kill will be found. Final spark's not enough.
Woo!
And just take a second to breathe. There is no first blood yet.
A really nice dodge coming from Papa there. I felt like that could have been first blood if the final spark was able to connect. There's so many key ults that are gone though. There's no Spirit Rush, there's no final spark, there's no Ragnarok. So SVP, they're gonna be comfy taking this Rift Herald unless one team is able to get a light binding down and get a good ult from Ninja 7.
I mean, Ninja 7 certainly could go for the flash crescendo. If the angles line up beautifully, there is that chokehold of them coming straight into the Rift Herald. And yeah, just like that, they sacrifice it. They say, we don't want to flip the game at such an early state. There's no point. Let's just continue playing to these waves. Let's get ourselves those key item spikes. We're going to bleed. It's obvious. I mean, this is what our comp's built to do, is that we want to be an absolute menace. But I suppose it's the fashion in which you do bleed. How much will you lose? Because it looks like they're going to lose a whole bunch.
Yeah, Rift Herald, First Blood Tower as well, bonus for the side of one team, even potentially the Dragon, because for SVP to safely transition towards the later stages of the game, they have to make sure that they're able to get picks here and there, punish over-aggression coming from one team, and they have the capabilities of doing so. They've got Wild Growth to out-sustain one team. They've got the Mega Inferno Bomb to be able to be involved in some of the side lanes here. Let's see if Allbot with Assault and Battery as well is able to punish out key targets from one team.
I'm wondering if the bot lane of one team there read it as almost being a little bit too telegraphed, that we did see Papa and David want to reset, go back to base. They're down to 50%, so why would they cancel that? No vision in the area, but they're not going to fall victim to it. So a nice read there from one team, showing discipline and allowing their early game oppression to still stand strong.
Yeah, they know that they don't necessarily have to kill. They just have to put Papa and David into a tight leash. And now, with this rotation, SVP remains, puts the bot side at their top. That means they can't contest for the Dragon.
Instant flash away, though, and I suppose that is the focus once again. We are sacrificing things, but we need to answer back elsewhere. Oh, that was so close. That was very close there with the all-in from the Ziggs. Not enough to outrange the smite, though. Haygor may just die for this one. Yep, the Spirit Rush guarantees it. Chucks out the Corgi and says goodbye.
Effortless by Baya here. Again, this tag team of a duo with Shanyo and Baya is just so deadly.
What can Kid do here in a 1v3? He's going to be
7.
backed up. Few flashes forward. Oh no, Ninja 7. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw the failed flash crescendo. It doesn't even matter. It does not. They found two already, and that's without cooldowns landing. And David has to run to the hills, but it's only going to find a Ziggs. And with no ultimates between the two of them, they are just going to soak some experience instead.
Yeah, Kid basically did a good job having to deter SVP from that dive. I believe that was a 1v3. Waited up until Ninja 7 is able to join the fight. And yeah, all attempts from SVP has been failing. And not only that, the exchange from it, where one team is able to cash in more gold, cash in more leads, cash in more kills, is just really brutal when it comes to the high risk, high reward type of approach in what they're doing.
And I think that sums it up beautifully, because that really is what it is. You're banking on the fact that one team can't find these angles to punish you elsewhere, that they can't unlock too much of this map for free. But they are finding that so far, and SVP have been unable to answer back. No turrets, no kills, no winning lanes to really harp on about. I mean, just take a quick stock check of the scoreboard, and some big gold leads now are starting to develop. I'm looking at the jungle in particular, where Zhanyo is just pretty much double.
That's true. Double the gold has been so involved in these fights, and that is the reason why we get to see Xianyo just so aggressive, doesn't really care, can tag team with Baya or possibly with Siyu to engage in these fights. Already have that righteous glory on board, so whenever he feels like it, he can just go in, press Ragnarok, and see if somebody dies, and usually the target's gonna be Papa.
Frustration there for Papa though, as he's looking to try and amp up the ante with the silver bolts. He's got himself that Blade of the Rune King, because certainly he's working towards some of that dueling potential, which is what Vayne is so coveted for. But up against Kid here, who has Flash, has Ignite, and has a Black Cleaver too. Now has actually just completed a Death Stance, far too strong, even with the cheating of the tempo, with that Art Sensor from David to back him up with. So worrying times here, but they do have double Trinity forces, so if they can get themselves a bit of free map time, they're sieging, let me take a bit of a punch.
Yeah, that's the thing. One team, all single lanes, probably except for Papa versus Ninja 7. Papa is able to still catch up in gold no matter what, but the rest of the lanes have been struggling. Therefore, one team is able to strong arm, plant these deep vision, see if somebody overextends inside their own jungle alone. You bet one team's gonna go there, visit you, and make sure you get punished in your own jungle.
I suppose revisiting the point we brought up before, right, when you are drafting scaling, you are looking to try and stem the bleeding and just, fade into that mid to late game where you do start to become relevant. They're down 10,000 gold now, and it feels like too steep of a hill to try and overcome.
Yeah, it's one team just getting everything. All the objectives, all the towers, all the bonuses, First Blood Tower. And unfortunately, the Mega Inferno Bomb at this point is not going to deal a lot. Just the Luden's Echo, you need that Rabadon's Death Cap at least to boost a little bit more of that damage. So right now, Mega Inferno Bomb, really relevant when it comes to minions, not so much about champions.
And it felt like we were, excited for what the Ziggs could offer. It could be that fantastic transition from early to mid to try and at least be competitive in this match. We've seen a number of times Olbart has looked to try and get the ball rolling, also to answer back with some trades of their own, but that play's always been read. The Assault and Battery hasn't let them any kills. And one team just having the freest game of their life. They're literally taking anything, and you just look at the way they're posturing, the way they're rotating around this map. Not a fear in the world.
Yeah, this is almost one team winning the game through PvE, having to get a lot of the objectives across the map. SVP, again, of course, they want to avoid fights because, as you mentioned, they just want to scale and see if they can get a pick or two, possibly, once one team is able to fully engage. Now, this is an attempt, right, from SVP and from Albert and Pago.
I like this though, but it's going to get spotted out nice and early as Zhanyo is the focus. Has double buffs, so he's going to be too concerned about taking that fight. Double back on himself as the binding goes through. Nice Hex to Golden, framing it. Goes Golden for a second, buys out time there for the teleport to follow, and that's a two-man charm. There's not much you can do about that one. Ziggs is gone. The double kill fan here for the Olaf. Papa tumbling through space and time, but only tumbles into a shallow grave. He's fallen on down here for 20 seconds. Only Pagor survives. And one team are happy to play the PvE, but if they get an option to PvP, they'll crush it too.
Yes, and they did. And now it's 4 death timers on the scoreboard for SVP, and unfortunately they cannot do anything about this. And now they defend. And the only thing that will be able to save them when it comes to wave clear is just Oddsy. There's literally the composition as a non-existent wave clear, so they will definitely struggle. If one decides to 1-3-1 this, I feel like it's possible, or 4-1, especially Kid, gonna be pushing towards the sidelines.
I suppose that's the question of SVP, hoping that these waves can be addressed nice and early. As you can see them deploying onto the map so far, looking to crash out as much as they can to prevent them all coming in at once and allowing one kid to go for that sort of three-pronged approach. Ziggs is phenomenal at sieging himself, but very adept at the anti-siege too, as he's going to make light work of this one, but he is lagging very far behind here with his items. He's opted for the Soul Stealer. He wants that ultimate cooldown, but He just hasn't snowballed in this game.
It's not the time.
Well, it's just a wombo combo. I mean, there's no need to get hype about it because it was over before I even got a chance to talk about it here, Riku. They're just gone.
Instantly. Just obliterated. No jungler, no support, no disengage for you. So SVP just has to watch this happen.
What do you do? 12 minutes into this one, and one team mean business. The game one looked closer than it should have been, but in game number 2, they're proving that the difference between the caliber of players is large. You take a risk, you take a gamble, you draft double scaling, and you get a scoreline that looks a little bit like this.
Yeah, the hope for SVP is to slow the bleed, slow the game down, but one team is just accelerating it into high speeds, and it's just such a tall order. Even though you have Otzi there for the big wave clear, one team is just gonna dive you, has a lot of answer to long sieges because they have heals, they have shields, they can basically block the incoming pokes coming from SVP, and you know, they basically take it no sweat.
I mean, one team are really playing for the perfect game. They've not lost a single turret, not a single objective, or a single kill. And those aren't things you hear often, especially on the international stage. So I'm sure they're not playing for that stat, but certainly will send a message here in Group A.
Yeah, they're definitely sending that statement that, hey, we're one team. We are your second placers back in the Summer Super Cup. It was incredibly close too against EVOS. It was all 5 games. It was so intense. And now, you know, they're making a statement. They're planting their flag over here at Group A. And, you know, SVP, and as well as earlier, of course, we got Team Flash. And they're basically taking team names.
Certainly are. 14 minutes in with a 20k gold lead. Already taken one inhibitor, a second soon to follow. A third wave now being escorted through that bottom channel. And now comes the Hexagon Maiden. Do or die here for SVP. A last chance initiation. Papa's already gone, and that's all they could have hoped for. Straight onto Allbut, he goes golden, falls away, and that's a Mega Inferno Bomb that literally tickled them. Did we see damage? Because I certainly didn't. Shields and heals, Lux and Sona doing what they do best and guaranteeing kills like this. That was beautiful there by Bayer. Guarantees it, no answer back as he also goes golden. And they may, in fact, do the perfect game. You don't see it often, but when you do, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, clean game coming from one team. Tower's all alive. Well, Contra, what were your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think that they have a really good plan on securing the Camille as well as having a Vi, but I'm not too sure about the Vayne here because it looks a little bit out of place to me. It takes a little bit too long to scale. You've got the Lulu, that's absolutely fine, but what are you gonna do when the Riven, the Olaf, or anybody from one team is just gonna hop on top of the Vayne? Nothing much can be done about that, and just look at how clean that one team executes it. Play towards the top side, make sure that Pagor doesn't really have too much of a good time, force that rotation to come by, and SVP, they have to turn tail and run because they have no point in contention, and one team esports drafted a really solid early game composition.
Yeah, really great stuff coming out from one team. Like the way that they play Sona and Lux, and like actually SVP try to do something like Flash